Hello everybody, and welcome back to Certified Collectibles. This is another episode of First Appearances of the Week. This is Wednesday, March 16th, 2022. We'll be giving you all the first appearances hitting your comic shops today. Now this week we have a very light week for you guys. I think we only have 2 first appearances, 6 honorable mentions, so 8 books in all to go through. Won't take us very long at all to go through these today, but definitely a couple good books in there to add to your collection. So let's go ahead and get started for the first appearance of the week ending March 18th, 2022. First up from DC Comics, Batman the Night number 3. This features the first appearance of the Foundling, a serial killer. Now this is the first appearance of a new character in a Batman title, but this is a subtitle. This is not one of the tentpole series, whether it be Batman or Detective Comics, but this is Batman the Night. So this is definitely a secondary title series. It really all depends on what DC does with this character. If they move this character into other title series, one of the more popular title series, this character could be more important. But if this character only appears in this particular title series, this one may not be all that important going forward. This is definitely a speculative bet in our opinion. If you want to pick it up, do so. Otherwise, put this one on your B-list and keep an eye on it. And also from DC Comics, Detective Comics number 1057. This features the first appearance of Kyoki Nakano as Psycho Pirate. Now this is the first appearance of a new character in a Detective Comics title series. This is one of the most popular title series for DC Comics. So this is one we do think is probably worth picking up for the cover price. If they spin this character into something bigger, you're sitting on a winner for $2 or $3. If it goes nowhere, you're out a couple dollars. So this is one we do think you should probably pick up and add to your collection. And now for the honorable mentions. From Scout Comics, Playthings number 1. A young mother is horrifically baffled when she wakes up inside a candy-colored room, bound with rope and surrounded by small toys that are alive. Now this is one we did highlight a few weeks ago. Due to distribution or printing issues, this was not released a few weeks ago. It's coming out today. So this is one we did mention is probably worth picking up and specking on for your collection. This is definitely a speculative bet, but Scout Comics has had a lot of their titles picked up for small screen and big screen projects, and this one here sounds very interesting. In our opinion, this one here has promise to be picked up. So if you can pick it up, do so. This is definitely going to be a speculative bet, like I mentioned, but this is one we do think has some promise. Next up from Scout Comics, Red Wraith number 1. A boy returns as a ghoul after dying during a prank on a half-pipe built on cursed land. Now, we did just mention the Scout Comics has had a lot of their titles picked up for small screen and big screen projects. This particular title sounds a little unusual, but that doesn't really mean anything. There's definitely been a lot of odd titles out there that have been optioned for small screen and big screen projects that have blown up once they've gotten picked up. So this one here is definitely a speculative bet if you choose to pick this one here up. In our opinion, these Scout Comics like this are probably worth picking up for the cover price. If you can't get it now, definitely put it on your B-list and take a look at it later. Next up from Image Comics, The Clay People Colossus number 1. A boy uses a supernatural gift to defend himself against bullies in a story inspired by the heavy metal band The Clay People. Now, Image Comics has had a lot of their titles optioned for small screen and big screen projects, and this also has The Clay People, the heavy metal band, behind it. So this one here has promised to be picked up and optioned for a project. It's also a story of bullying, which is, of course, socially relevant. So this one here definitely has the potential to be picked up for a TV series, streaming series, or feature film. So in our opinion, this is probably worth specking on and picking up for the cover price. If you can get it, though, put it on your B-list, take a look at it later. But if you can, this is probably worth adding to your collection. Next up from Image Comics, Slumber number 1. A dream detective who helps clients by killing their nightmares encounters trouble in the form of a real serial killer who murders people in their sleep. Now this one here definitely sounds like it could possibly be picked up for a small screen or big screen project, and this is an Image title. We mentioned a moment ago, Image has had a lot of their titles picked up for feature films, TV shows, and streaming series. So this one here, in our opinion, is probably worth picking up and specking on. Grab this one here if you can. If you can't, put it on your B-list, keep an eye on it. Next up from Marvel Comics, Carnage number 1. This is the premiere issue of the 3rd solo Carnage series. Now, Venom Carnage, incredibly popular and fan-favorite characters out of the Spider-Man universe, and this here is the premiere issue of the 3rd solo Carnage title, so this is probably worth picking up and adding to your collection. These new title series, when they're introduced, often have new story arcs that are brought into more modern films or streaming series or TV shows, so in our opinion, this here is probably worth picking up and adding to your collection. Grab this one here if you can. And finally, for Marvel Comics, Eternals The Heretic number 1. This features the origin of Uranus. Now, Marvel Disney did not do the Eternals franchise any favors with the feature film they released. It was not very popular with fans and critics, so that did not do this title series any favors, but that doesn't mean in the future it won't have potential. This is the origin of Uranus, not the first appearance, but this still may have some relevance later on. So if you are picking up these origin stories, this one here is probably one you want to own. So go ahead and grab this one here if you can. If you can't though, put it on your B-list. We do think you probably have some time on this one. So there you have the 8 titles that we have for you guys this week. Not a whole lot to go through, but definitely a couple good books in there to add to your collection. Please feel free to drop some comments in the comment section below. Thumbs up if you like this video. And as always, please remember to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you for joining us here at Certified Collectibles, and we'll see you again next time.